All right. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are here in the United States and across the world. Welcome to LWN Headline Hits with LW. Appreciate you guys all joining me this afternoon. I've got a lot of things that I want to share with you. Some new things that my brother Alan has helped me with the software. I think you'll all enjoy. So today is Wednesday, January the 5th, 2022. We'll just get right into it. So here we go. We're going to start off with testing shortages. So I like to go after Puddin' Pop. If we're going to be stuck with this guy for the next 3 years, then I'm just going to bring to light the failure upon failure upon failure that this president has already accumulated just in the short time he has been in office. I'm going to bring it to light. I'm going to show everybody. If you want to like, share this newscast, I would really appreciate it. Help this thing grow. So, Joe Biden blames states for testing shortages in schools. Let's read a little further. So Wednesday, he blamed the experiencing the sickness testing shortages in schools. He's blaming everybody but himself. That money went out to the states. He's blaming the states right now, and the states and the school districts have spent this money well, many of them. But he's referring to the 10 billion provided to the states to requiring testing in schools, but he's not going to take any blame in that. He is going to push it all on everyone else, including the states, including the school districts. And it's never Joe's fault, right? It's never Joe's fault. He said over 10 times on his campaign uh speeches that if you vote for me, I will shut this down, meaning the sickness. I will shut the sickness down if you vote for me. Well, Joe, you haven't done it yet. When are you going to make that happen? Uh, so moving on to the next Puddin' Pop article that I found very interesting is the statement that he made yesterday. And listen, I know the guy really, the lights are on, but nobody's home. I know he has a lot of gaffes. Heck, I even have gaffes myself trying to pronounce people's names and saying things here on this show. But this guy, I really don't think he even knows where he's at. I really don't think he even knows he's president of the United States. But that even in itself is questionable. So Joe Biden in 2022, and these are his own words, quote, there are a lot of reasons to be hopeful in 2020 about the sickness pandemic is what he's referring to. So President Joe Biden mistakenly said there are lots of reasons to be hopeful in the year 2020 with the ongoing fight of the sickness. And then he just goes on to repeat over and over and over again everything that spews out of flip flop and Fauci's mouth. Um, and he wants to blame it on what we call the purebloods, what they call the purebloods. This continues to be a pandemic of the unvacationed. So we've got to make more progress, end quote. But he acknowledges that the surge in cases among the vacationed are making it difficult for businesses and schools to stay open. Now, I can't make this stuff up. And by the end of this segment, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that's going on around the world that just doesn't, the numbers don't add up. They never have added up from day one. And they keep trying to push this filth down our throats. And we're just going to spotlight it as often as we possibly can. And I got to be very cautious about what I say and how I say it because y'all know that they like to censor. So he goes further to say, you can still get the sickness, but it's highly unlikely, very unlikely that you'll become seriously ill if you take a vacation. But seeing the sickness cases among the vacationed, not the unvacationed, but the vacationed and the workplaces across America, including here in the White House. So they can't even figure out why the vacationed people who have all gotten line like sheep and lined up and got the poke, they can't understand why they're still getting sick as well. Matter of fact, again, I'm going to show you population numbers where there are countries out there that are really pushing this, and yet they have the highest rate of cases in the world. Biden repeatedly urged Americans to get vacationed to protect themselves from the sickness. Um, and then this is where they contradict themselves. I know Dr. Flip Flop and Fauci. I'm like an echo chamber here. Okay, I know it. Quote, he said, but quote, repeating myself, what Dr. Fauci said is very, very clearly booster shots work. End quote. It's hard to read some of this stuff. I'm horrible at this stuff, and he makes me sound even dumber. So anyway, they can't make up their mind what works, what doesn't work. It's just more of the same. So let's talk about United Airlines. We talked about this just the other day. Now, federal judges are hearing the arguments in the United Airlines vacationed mandate cases. It goes further to say that a three-panel judge in a federal appeals court heard arguments Monday evening in the lawsuit against United Airlines regarding the company's sickness vacation mandates. It goes on to say that it was originally filed by 6 United Airlines employees in September, alleges that the company is violating Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, for discriminating against those based on their religious beliefs and medical conditions. They United has placed over 2,000 employees on unpaid leave and foregoing the vacation. So they're on unpaid leave until they get the vacation. Plus, they also listen to this. This is United Airlines. They also strip those employees of their health benefits, and they're also forcing them to subject under the non-compete clause. Well, you're asking Mike, what is a non-compete clause? Well, that means if you work for United and you sign that contract, you're not allowed to compete with them. So that means you can't go out and start your own airlines, which would be hard to do. But you also can't go to work for somebody like Delta or Southwest or any of the other competitors out there. You're not allowed to go over and switch companies because they're not forcing the mandate, and United is. So basically, they've got their sack in a vice, and they're really squeezing down hard on it. But the employees are fighting back. They've taken it to the federal court, and the judges are involved now. And I really hope they get what is due to them, which is a ruling that states, these mandates are unlawful. All right, so let's go to Illinois. The prosecutor in the Illinois police sergeant case, quote, she desperately pleaded for her life when she was fatally shot. Now, this happened earlier this week, late last week. The prosecutors say that Bradley, Illinois police sergeant Marlene oh man, they're challenging me here. Ritmanek was desperately pleading for her life when she was allegedly shot and killed last week by Darius Sullivan, 25, with the help of his girlfriend at the time, Alexandria Harris, 26. Yeah, I'm sure she was a girlfriend at the time, and now she's trying to distance herself as quickly as she possibly can. So, what had happened in this was there was a disturbance call at a hotel, uh, dogs barking or something like this. Her and her partner showed up. Um, and approximately at 9:56 p.m. on December 30th, she was shot and killed, and she is pleading for her life before she was shot. So, these scumbags, in my opinion, they need to throw the book at them. They're talking about death penalty. They're wanting to go after the death penalty in this case, and I think it's, in my opinion, it's very valid. All right, hold on just a second as I pull up the next one. Uh-oh, I lost what I was looking for. All right. Let's go to a year ago, a year later. I hope that popped up for me. Hold on just a second. All right, a year later, it's up. Um, I wanted to talk about this. I know tomorrow is the 6th and today is the 5th, but it's already all over in the news. I wanted to talk about it. So a year later, the Democrats planned a January 6th remnants exhibit, and it fails to materialize. So, what are you talking about? Well, there's quite a few Democrats out there and some Republicans that wanted the architect of Washington, D.C. to design a memorial, a remembrance exhibit of what happened on January 6th of 2021. They wanted to mark the first anniversary of the darkest day in American history, with the field trip at the Capitol, and they go on to say that they wanted to depict the attack on the Capitol that occurred, and that it was the darkest day in American democracy. All the acts that happened that day was so horrible, that they wanted a memorial out there to show everybody, not only in the United States but the world, that they got attacked. Well, what about the summer of love, folks? What about the police cruisers, the police departments, all the mom and pop shops across America that that lost their businesses? Where's the memorial for that? You got to ask yourself, where is it? What have they done with that? They have completely forgot about all the things that happened in 2020. Like it just never happened, but yet we're supposed to continue to remember what happened on January 6th. So, just more of the same. Let's go to the next article, which is the Who Cares news. I call it the Who Cares news because really, who cares? The Democrat National Committee employees will unionize. Yippee ki Seriously, why haven't they already unionized? I thought the Democrat Party was the party of the unions. I thought that that would have been something that would have been handled a very long time ago. And it seems like they're just now in 2021 getting around to it. Uh, I think you're a little late to the game, in my opinion. You probably should have stepped that up a long time ago. All right, let's move on here. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, this one I like. You're gonna like this one. So this is the Soros clown DA in Manhattan, New York. So Soros linked Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. No, listen to this. This is crazy. For those of you, I know Tracy lives in the state of New York. She lives in upstate New York, but this is in downtown Manhattan. This is New York City. This DA, I can't even make this stuff up. No incarceration except for homicide and a few other cases. Well, you're probably scratching your head saying, "What are you talking about?" Well, let's dive into it for a minute here. So I was reading the article, and basically he lays claim to how he had a horrible childhood growing up. He had guns in his faces. He had knives pulled on him. He saw warrants served. He was in houses. The doors got kicked in. Then he goes walking up the block with his children and saw where somebody had been shot and killed, and there was yellow tape all over the place. And he still has decided that the only way that they're going to ever ask for any kind of justice, and this is coming from his office, is that they will not seek any kind of incarceration unless it is a homicide or is involved in a death of a victim, a Class B violent felony in which a deadly weapon causes serious physical injury, domestic violence felonies, sex offenses. That is all they're gonna. That is all that will apply to any type of incarceration in downtown Manhattan in New York under this DA. This DA was also funded by George Soros himself, who gave him $1 million to his campaign when he ran for office. If you don't believe me, it's in the news. Go ahead and go look it up. All right. The next one that we're going to hit here, the next article, we're going to jump over to Georgia. I got a couple of them here in Georgia that I found very interesting. Georgia authorities probe into possible illegal um, ballot harvesting in the 2020 thing that happened in November. God, I wish I could just read this. I miss Podbean. Check us out on Podbean, LWN Podcast, because I hate having to dance around these words. They'll probably come after me for some of this stuff, but that's all right. All right, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Rassenpfeffer, or whatever his name is, announced Tuesday that he intended a probe into possible illegal ballot harvesting in the election of last year. And it goes on to say that T lost by a margin of 12,000 votes. So he's claiming that as long as they feel like they've had a legitimate claim, a legitimate complaint, that they will probe into and investigate the seriousness of it. And it goes on to say that digital data of 242 people making visits to the drop boxes and dumping mail-in ballots, um, with about 40% of the trips occurring between midnight and 5 a.m. Now, I know there's a lot of conversation on both sides that this never happened. There's no proof, but then we have proof like this that shows certain things that they're going to look into and investigate. I say crack this stuff wide open and let's see it all. Lay it all on the line. We're all big girls and big boys. We can handle the truth. So give us the truth. All right. We're going to stay in Georgia and we're going to talk about the Second Amendment. So, the Second Amendment in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp plans to ease gun laws in Georgia by having the carry permit, quote, should be the, quote, founding document of our nation. So, he is now going to go into legislation this spring and really push hard to try to get something on his desk to sign that will make Georgia another one of the states that becomes a constitutional carry. Now, I'm not a constitutional carry expert. From what I understand in the state of Idaho, which we went constitutional carry in 2016, I realize that D-Dog says we don't need any of this stuff. We have all the rights. Well, I agree with you, D-Dog, but this is the process that is laid before us, and I'm just reporting it. So, constitutional carry to me, at least what I understood here in my home state of Idaho, is you can conceal without having to have a permit. You can conceal without having to have the concealed carry permits and classes. It's your constitutional right, and that's the way it should be. So kudos to Brian Kemp for announcing that. I know he ran on that in his campaign. He's been governor since 2019. So he sounds like a pretty decent governor to me anyway, and hopefully he'll push that through, get it done, get it signed, and the citizens of Georgia will be able to have their constitutional right and carry. All right, moving to the final two articles, which I thought were pretty interesting, and I definitely wanted to share this because this one right here really fires me up when we're going to talk about Israel. So Israel hits the all-time high for the sickness infections. Man, you can't make this stuff. I'm going to read this article to you guys and some of the numbers. You're just going to shake your head and go, what the hell is going on? Seriously. So Israel hits an all-time high on Wednesday, and the government announced only at-risk groups and individuals over 60 would be eligible for the PCR testing in a bid to relieve pressure on the testing centers. Okay, it goes on further to say, now listen to these percentages. This is just going to make you shake your head like I am right now. Okay, according to the Times of Israel, approximately 63% of people in Israel have received 2 vacations. That's over half the country. While around 46% have received their 3rd. There are currently no data on how many have received their 4th vacation. Now, I'm reading this. It's right here in black and white. I'm not making this stuff up. So the Prime Minister Bennett warned Israel would likely see as many as 50,000 new sickness cases in the coming month. They just hit a record yesterday of 12,000 cases a day or a week, and now they're projecting 50,000. We already expect to see a doubling and then a doubling of the doubling in the coming days, end quote, from the prime minister. Now, you got to ask yourself, um, they've had so many of these vacations, you would think, why are the cases rising? Why is this a deal to them? Well, good question, right? And why is our government also pushing the same thing? So it goes on to say that there is between 2 to 4 million, 2 to 4 million out of the Israel's total population of 9.5 million will eventually become infected with this new variant. So I don't even know what to say. Really don't. It's like you guys keep pushing this, pushing this, pushing this. The numbers are not computing in your favor, and you keep pushing it. All right, let's go to the last article of the day. This one I also found interesting because it kind of talks about a little bit of the sickness, right? So this one here really irritates me. I had Andy on last night. We talked about the economy. We talked about inflation. We talked about the things that are causing the inflation. We also talked about we can't go down this road much longer. It just won't. It won't it won't be stable. It's going to collapse eventually. So Republican senators, listen to me, Republican senators team with Democrats to negotiate a 68 billion with a B Decepticon stimulus package. Now, did we not just pass a $1.9 trillion stimulus package to put into our economy? Biden was real proud of it. It was history breaking. He signed it into law. Now they're going back to the table, and the Republicans and the Democrat senators are jointly negotiating a Decepticon stimulus package worth $68 billion to boost President Biden's stumbling economy, says the Washington Post. Inflation is at a 40-year high right now as we speak, and we're going to pump more money into this economy. It goes further to state that the $1.9 trillion sickness stimulus package that was just passed, a lot of that money is going to unemployment to keep people from working. It is fattening that unemployment eligibility. It's making it to where it's you make more money if you stay home than you go out and get a job. Now they're going to pump a little bit more into it as well. So you tell me, is that healthy for our economy? Is that going to build back better? In my opinion, the answer is hell no. But it's only in my opinion. I'm not an economic analyst. I'm not a professional, but the math seems easy to me, and you can't continue down this path without something drastic happening. And it's definitely not going to happen in our favor to benefit us. A collapse of the economy, in my opinion, is definitely on the horizon. You guys got to do what you can do to kind of protect yourselves and your family. So, with that being said, thank you for joining me for the headline hits. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Remember, I will be on Podbean later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and John E. We will be talking about more about this sickness on that podcast. So if you want to join us, download the app, look us up, and we will see you back here later tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Check this out.